What's up, everyone? You ever wonder why there isn't a lot of intelligent black conservatives that are on TV speaking about politics and about social issues? Well, it's the same reason that there's not a lot of reports about white people that's being killed by the cops. It doesn't fit the liberal and the democratic racial agenda. Simple as that. Conservative black people are the most dangerous people to Democrats and the liberal media that's out there. If you're not an emotional, impulsive, angry, victimized black politician or anchor or reporter or commentator, they don't want to hear from you. If you're not always hypersensitive over everything that's said and looking at every situation as racist and it's offensive, they don't want to hear from you. If you are logical, practical, reasonable, if you're not reacting to everything that's thrown in your face, but instead taking time to look at the facts, taking time to kind of connect all the dots in a strategic manner, in a practical manner, they don't want to hear from you. If you're not the type that's going to get on there and race bait and interpret everything that's said and done as racist, even if it's almost impossible to put a racial spin on it, you find a way to do it. If you're not that type of person, they don't want to hear from you. Lately, I've been watching so many videos and so many, these are underground things that are on YouTube, stuff like that, of intelligent, practical, reasonable black conservatives that give great opinions, that break it down in a way that if a lot of black people heard it broken down that way, they probably would say, man, that makes sense. And they probably would realize that they have been used throughout the years and even up to the current day by the liberal media and, of course, the Democrats to push this racial agenda and make it seem like because you guys are always the victims, we're here for you and everybody else isn't. And they fall for it and rush back to the polls. And they're doing the same thing with any other small interest group or minority. That is all they do. And when you find a large group of minorities or black people that's starting to wake up, smell the coffee, took the red pill, came out the matrix, and is calling it what it is. Nothing but race baiting, inflating situations and stories, playing politics, all to stay in power regardless of how these narratives further divide our country by pushing false race baiting. Not saying that there is no such thing as racial issues, but to the degree that the liberal media and the Democrats push it, it's ridiculous. In fact, it's so bad now that it dilutes real racial issues. Now everything is race. Everything is Nazism. Everything is the KKK. And when you start doing that, you become the boy or the girl that cried wolf. Now all of a sudden, everything is racism. And you're going, man, whatever. I don't want to hear another word about, oh, that's racist. Dr. Seuss now is racist, I forgot. You name it, it's racist. So when you get black people or minorities that get on TV and destroy those narratives and get on TV and say, hold up, man, I didn't see it that way. I wasn't offended. I'm not that sensitive. I'm able to look at black people who make bad choices and call it for what it is. Oftentimes, it's not race. Oftentimes, I can disagree with someone and it has nothing to do with their skin color. It's crazy how if a white person disagrees with a black person, or if a white politician speaks out on a topic that is a social issue with a black person or a Muslim or a Latino in it, they can't just have an opinion. It has to be racially motivated. And if people can't see through that, it's ridiculous. But what destroys that narrative is if you start putting African Americans and other minorities on TV that are conservative, practical, logical, and speaking out against this stuff, now they can't call these people racist. Now they start to lose their captive audience of people who all they do is speak out and say, oh, you're the victim, I'm so sad for you. And the people fall for it and run out and vote for them over and over again. So that is why you don't see a lot of people that look like me on different channels and have their own talk shows, conservative talk shows, or their own radio stations, conservative radio stations. And if they do, oftentimes they're portrayed as the Uncle Tom or the sellout and so on and so forth. They even convince other black people that you shouldn't really embrace them because they're not with you. They're not really black. They're Uncle Toms. They will attack other black people just like they attacked Ben Carson, who's one of the most intelligent men I've ever heard. You know, whoever defies the left, they always throw them under the bus as you're racist or Uncle Tom. But what hurt that narrative is if a large sum of minorities started waking up and speaking out like they have some sense and like they're not so sensitive and emotional and impulsive to respond to every little thing that happens or is said and buy right into the race card. It's racial. It's sexist. It's homophobic. It's xenophobic. It's transphobic. It's whatever phobic. Makes me sick to my stomach. We need to get together as a large sum of minorities and really generate some type of platform to where we can share our opinions and thoughts about what's going on in our society and how we see it, not from just everything is racial and controversial, but from a policy standpoint, something that actually makes sense, and let them call us racist after we vocalize our opinion about it. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense, but you know what it is. You just can't make sense out of nonsense.